I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy Interviews. Today on my couch, I have Brian T. And I know Brian through his fabulous wife, Morelli Taylor. And they're an amazing couple. And he's an actor who works all the time. And I'm impressed with how he juggles everything, but more importantly, who he is as a human being, because I've seen how he affected my dear soul sister in such a positive way that, yeah, he's a great actor. Go IMDb him. But I want to know what makes Brian T tick. And where did T come from? Because I think he's Asian, Korean and maybe Japanese, something in there. Is that
yes,
it?
both actually.
Both. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint which one. So both. And so where did that come from? And how did you become Brian T? Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How did I become Brian T?
Yeah.
I am half Japanese, half Korean. My mother is first generation from Seoul, Korea. My father was actually born here in the United States in an internment camp. He went over to Okinawa for like a holiday, where my mom actually was a reporter in Korea at the time. And during, I believe, the Vietnam War, where she was reporting for the news, at the time, Korea was still a very male chauvinistic type of society. They've definitely expanded and broadened their horizons now, but they wouldn't allow my mom to report for the news anymore. So she went over to Okinawa to try to find work, met my father, bore my brother and I, and we moved to LA when I was 2 and he was 7. So that is how Brian T came to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you close with your brother?
I am close with my brother. My brother's 5 years older, born on in the same month. His birthday's on the 14th and mine's on the 15th of March. And we can never be like more far apart as far as personalities are concerned. He's definitely I want to say the brains of the family, whereas maybe I'm much more the creative side. He's kind of black and white and I'm filled with colors. Great, amazing father, amazing husband, amazing brother. But our personalities are very drastically different. And, we were raised by the same mother, raised by the same family. So I just think.
Do you think that's
it's
because of
very
the
odd.
age difference?
I guess so. I mean, the age difference definitely as far as the hierarchy of sorts. But I feel like our personalities we're just two different people. And I don't know, I think that stems just genetically in how you're born. And you just are born or gifted with a particular set of traits that you hopefully find and you can make a part of your life and become, what you end up doing or being as far as a human being or even with work. I think it is those specific traits that I think in anyone's life that you try to tap into, and once you do, that is the explosion of growth. That is the pursuit. That is I feel the definition of what starts as legacy is because when you tap into that spirit and that drive and that utter passion for whatever it is inside of you, like that is the gift.
Yes.
And I feel like the legacy exists wherever it is, wherever it goes, as long as you follow that path.
But how do you tap into that purpose?
It was an odd thing. I think for myself, and I can only speak for myself, is that tapping into that was literally being open to something new. And in high school, I was very much what I call a soc. I had a lot of friends. I played a lot of sports. I was in the ASB, but my grades weren't very good. My brother, who's 5 years older, he became the doctor and went through med school, so I was more groomed to be the lawyer. But I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I also didn't know what I wanted to be and was just kind of coasting through life. Until I actually was fortunate enough to get into Cal State Fullerton, which is a state school out here in California, and I took this class, and it was called Acting for Non-Majors. And I literally did it for like shits and giggles, because I thought it'd be like an easy A. So I called my friend up, I said, we're taking this class, I don't know what it's about, but we're acting, so it's going to be so easy. And that first week of class, it completely changed my life. It was this lightning bolt that struck me, this kind of aha moment, this light that just kind of flickered, and that light bulb kind of burned and is still burning inside of me now. And I think that's it. I think when you journey through life, when you find those moments, it is those moments that you try to grasp onto.
So how do you recognize that moment? I know it was just like, oh, I'm in it.
Yeah.
You feel it. But if you have a lot going on, maybe you don't recognize it, or you may not be perfect at it, so you
Right.
might quit.
Right.
I know I love drama, and I did the same thing. Oh, let me take acting because this is an easy A. It was my
Right.
only D I ever got. A D. How do you get a freaking D in drama?
But no, but you're right though, because it's that kind of passion or that light bulb moment, I feel like happens throughout the course of your life. It's just a matter of being aware of it
Yeah.
and being able to grasp onto it. But I think also it's a matter of opening yourself up to the opportunity for anything to allow yourself
Yes.
to come in. I think in the pursuit of your dreams or life and kind of going on your road through your legacy, I feel like being open to all of these opportunities and really trying and going forward and putting your all into it, I think that's how you find it. I mean, few and far between may it come to you and just be kind of this burst of lightning, and it's that one direction you kind of go. I think in life, in the journey, there are steps to get there. There are certain moments that you have to actually pass through or live through that help you to find your place or help you to find that inspiration to want to go into that direction. But I think it's that pursuit, it's that openness, it's that you taking that drama class or that propelled you to go in a different direction or propelled you to go in the direction that you are now in some weird form or
Yeah, I
another.
think what happened was I thought that was an easy class to ditch because they don't
Right.
know. I think I scooted off and took my friend's car
Right.
and came. Yeah, but anyway, in the end, it wasn't so pretty. But yeah.
But I think,
But it's
yeah.
finding something, because when
Yes.
you try to do something new like that, that still sparks something where I'm like, oh, I like the vibe of this. I don't know
Right.
what it quite is, but I
Right.
like the energy of artists.
Yes.
And
I think
creation.
completely. And I think once you try certain things, one may fit and one might not fit, but it's the effort. And I think that's what life is. It's the effort, it's the pursuit, it's the direction that you attempt to go, but allow others to kind of guide you and take you in certain areas of that direction.
Yeah, so if someone is watching this, which I get asked this question all the time, how do you find a passion? I don't know what my passion is.
I think, gosh.
I'm 32. I don't know what it is yet. I'm 25. I have no talents. I have no skills.
Yeah.
I'm not special. And I'm sick of that desk job.
I think in itself, the question of how, and whoever's asking this, I feel if it's coming from a place of negativity, in a place of I don't, or I can't, or I'm not, and then they pose that question, I feel like then they're closed off to it. And I feel like if there is a way to find this passion or find that spark, it is to be open to it. Because I feel like even when people pose that question when they're lost, they pose it in a way where it's because I'm not, or because I can't, or I'm not this person, or
I wasn't born into it.
I wasn't born into it, and there's all these kind of negative blockages. And I feel in any pursuit or any dream, you can't have those negative thoughts, feelings, blockages deter you from really opening yourself up. Because once you open yourself up, and I've felt this time and time again throughout my life, as soon as I made, even starts with a conscious decision, and then you kind of process and filter it out and make it your life's blood, to really open yourself up to whatever situation, whatever that poses you in life, or whatever you dream of. I promise then everything will enter. Everything will fall into
So
place.
how did you do it? You're an actor,
Yeah.
and I hate to label, but kind of an Asian actor.
Yes.
So the odds against you becoming a superstar are fewer and
Slim.
far between
Right.
compared to, a Brad Pitt or
Totally.
somebody.
Completely.
So how did you say, I'm still going to go for this? I may never make it. I may not make money.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give up all these years pursuing this dream.
It's interesting because I feel like when I first started, I guess just in life, I never felt myself as different. I never felt myself as, well, I'm Asian, so I can't do this stuff.
Why
Or
not, though?
I
What
think it was the
happened?
way I grew up. I grew up in a suburb outside of Los Angeles called Hacienda Heights, and in Hacienda Heights, I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by a, a slew of just multi-ethnic human beings. We had Hispanic, African American, Caucasian, Asian, like all across the board, and it wasn't, I feel, like a hierarchy of sorts, or I feel like the playing field was leveled, because we just happen to have like 40% Caucasian, 30% Hispanic, 20% African American, 20. It was just completely even. Whereas race in that environment didn't exist, for myself, and I never let what I looked like deter from what I wanted to be. Um, and it wasn't up until I actually started acting that I realized I was different, that I realized possibly being Asian isn't, or would be, kind of a harder road to climb in this field that we call acting. Um, but I think it's from when I started and having that existence of not feeling like I was different, to really kind of charge ahead and strive through this career that really helped me propel to where I am now, even though the roadblocks are still there, even though that, um, the roles are few and far between. I still feel like in my heart of hearts, I feel like that person that grew up in Hacienda Heights. And I think that's what helped me kind of, and is still helping me kind of propel through all of the obstacles and really try to, now I just try to break those stereotypes, and I really try to create the new mold of what I feel is the norm. We live in such a multicultural world and such a multicultural society that I feel our medium should reflect that.
How many years did it take for you, or days,
Yeah.
that you realized, oh, I do have something special to offer, and you started getting roles?
Wow, I think it's a continuous process. I think, um, I started out finding acting in college, went to UC Berkeley and I studied theater, and I came back no, I'm sorry, in 99, and just kind of hit the ground running. And I think it's that passion for the arts, for what I wanted to pursue in my career, that really drove me, because I basically did everything and anything. Extra work to student films to, you know,
So you
having all
showed
of
up
my
every
stuff.
day.
You showed up every day. You really showed up every day, and you put your all into it, and it's a progression. It really, truly is. I don't think there are definitely the stories of, like, boom, you get this one role and you skyrocket to the top. I think the majority of actors in this industry kind of work their way, and kind of build their career as any other job might do. You kind of work up the steps and up the ladders as best and as hard as you can. But you're right, you show up every day. You try your best, and you walk away feeling proud of that.
So what are you most proud of? Career-wise and in your personal life?
I'm most proud of my personal life. I'm most proud of just the gift that I have with my wife and my family. I'm most proud of being able to live the life that I've only dreamed and imagined to be real. Um, I feel like I've lived a very charmed life. I feel like I've been very fortunate, and it's because of the women in my life. Um, I was raised pretty much by my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, and now my wife. And I say that because they were the biggest influences of my life. And I feel like the person that I am today, right now, sitting here, is because of those 4 women, and continue to be. Um, and I feel like that's what I feel most proud of, to be able to be the person that I am now through their influences, and kind of move on and be a better person after that, is what I'm most proud of. It sounds very, I
No,
feel
it's beautiful. It's
obscure in a sense, but very simple in a sense. I feel like the philosophies in my life are much simpler, and for myself is when it becomes simple, when it becomes easy, is that's when you really truly exist. You know, when things get too complicated, it seems to clutter things.
yeah. When you're when one is in your energy, I'll speak from my perspective. I feel a simplicity. I feel an
Yeah.
exhale with you. There's something that is not complicated in you. It's just like what you see is what you get.
Pretty much.
Yeah, which is
Pretty
really nice. So
much.
you just every day show up and you don't put
Yeah.
on your masks and
No, I think that's what I've felt puts me at ease and allows me to kind of take on my own journey. And what I've kind of learned throughout the course of my life is kind of the best philosophy. It's it's the simplicity of things. It's building up your, I feel, integral spirit, and just showing up and
talk a little
living
bit
that.
about integral spirit.
I feel like from the influences of the women in my life, they are probably the foremost integral people that I know. And through the beginning of my life, my mom and my aunt raised me. And in my 20s, my grandmother and I were actually living together. Um, right after college, my aunt was taking care of my grandmother at the time, and she had just remarried and wanted to go start her life, and everyone was worried about grandma living in LA alone. So I basically raised my hand. I said, I need to be in LA because I want to be an actor. I got grandma taken care of. We're covered. What I thought was going to be like 2 years tops turned into the last 12 years of her life. So it's that everyday influence that I feel has really centered me and became the man that I am today.
Okay, so before you go on, this is interesting. So first of all, you are who you are. I have so many questions all at once. So
Yeah.
you are who you are because of the women in your life. So
Right.
first question
Yes.
is who would you be if men raised you? Or most people say you need a husband and a wife.
Right.
Since you didn't have a father,
Right.
how do you feel that shifted who you are today?
I think the men in my life that were in my life starting till now have definitely influenced me in certain ways. Um, I feel like the male side of me exists through, gosh, just my upbringing, just playing sports, and my older brother, and a father figure who was there, maybe not emotionally, but showed up every day and did the best that he could. And I could respect that. And I think through the male side of my influence, I feel like, as far as the respect is concerned, they definitely influenced me in that way. What's interesting is because of the women in my life who have been such a huge influence, like, I have so much respect for women. I call myself like a feminist. It's pretty ridiculous. Um, but it
But that's what's probably allowed you to have a magical marriage
completely,
because you understand
100%.
women so well.
100%. I feel like, I don't know, I can't say that I understand women. I feel like that I appreciate women, I respect women. That I feel like the journey in my life has allowed me to really open myself up to the women that have really influenced me, and using their guidance to really take on my relationships as far as my wife is concerned, or how I want to raise my family. So yeah, it's a very, I feel, different way of upbringing, but one that I have definitely appreciated, and one that I know makes me the man that I am today.
So, what's your top tip of having a marriage that works, where you really work in sync, where it's a soulmate?
I have several. One is communication. Always be communicating. Don't ever think that the partner should know anything. Because I feel like once you get into that habit, then certain things may not kind of fit. And when I say that, I feel like too many times in a relationship, people get so comfortable that they don't communicate. And then one tries to kind of feel like the other should do something because that one's thinking something that they may not be thinking. It's kind of like a reading of the minds in a sense, but if you communicate it, like all of that doesn't need to happen. The other I feel is in a relationship, and I feel like this is just for me, is that I feel like for my partner that I will do anything and everything for her and always put her first. And it is a very interesting dichotomy of sorts, because in no other time in my life have I worked more, but it was this transition of really learning to put myself first. So then I had these two odd things in my relationship and in my personal life. I wanted to put her first. And then in my business and in all of the issues of money or just everyday things, I needed to put myself first. But I think in a relationship, those two go hand in hand. And for myself, I am a whole human being with her. So it's not about putting her first. It's about putting each other first. So if I ever have to make a decision, or if I ever have to do anything within our relationship, it's the communicating, but through one soul. And I think that's what truly soulmates are. It's communicating through that one soul that really, really defines you, and that really, really connects you, and that really,
So it's
really
really
creates
finding the
that.
person that feels and thinks the same way you do also.
In a sense.
But I think when you're that way, you'll track that.
In a sense, yeah.
You inspire each other.
I feel like individuals as human beings, I mean, in a relationship, they can be two different people. But I feel like as far as their core, their souls need to be as one. And all those cliches, they exist for a reason. The true love,
Yes.
I know when I know, these
Yes.
soulmates.
Yes.
And I feel like in a relationship, that's what I hold true to myself, and that I'm so blessed to have. And is that I found that one that I feel like we share the same soul. I feel like Morelia and I are like two different people, but we share the same soul and the love for one another that will always, instead of going into whatever predicament might happen, into a place of being right, it's more of a place of how am I affecting the other, and what can I do for myself to make it okay? And it's that continuous.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I feel
Completely different way to see an
yeah,
issue. Because relationships are issues that always come up. That's part of life as an individual and as a joining forces with someone.
Totally. And I think if you are committed in that relationship, that's the direction that you need to go first, instead of always going in trying to be right, or trying to, I don't know, for whatever reason, be correct, or, just putting yourself on top for no reason.
Okay, so I need you to share with us this
Yes.
story about You lived with your grandmother for 12 years, for God's
did.
sake. How do you have a love life? How do you date?
Don't.
Right, you don't. You don't.
So funny story.
So, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, when I first started, I kind of committed myself into the career and did basically just taking care of grandmother. And those are my two things. Relationships, girlfriends, going out, whatever you want to call it. We're pretty much kind of third tier. And I kind of lived my life that way for a solid 10 years. And what was interesting was, I mean, I would still go out, I would still date, I'd still have quote unquote kind of girlfriends, but I would just never bring anyone home. And I think that's because of such the high respect that I have for my family and the women in my family, that for some reason, I made the conscious effort and the decision not to just bring anyone by to introduce to my family. Because I felt I held them in such a high regard that I didn't want to just bring anybody. So it had to be someone special, someone that I knew or I felt that I would continue on for a very long time, if not forever. And I didn't find that person through the whole time I was living with my grandmother. Which was interesting, because cut to when I find Morelli and fall in love and everything is bliss, and I call my mother and I say, Mom, I want to introduce you to my soulmate. She's the one. She's everything to me. And my mom, in her subtle way, answered, okay, are you happy? Okay, good. Okay, bye. And that was it. That was basically the end of our conversation. So we set up this dinner and all of this other stuff, and my whole family was there. And Morelli and I are nervous because I would say my mom is a very liberal, being a first-generation Korean mom. But she still has cultural roots, whereas they'd like you to date, if not marry, Korean or Asian or any of that sort. I think it kind of transcends all cultures. But we were a little bit nervous because love is love, and my wife is Panamanian, Hispanic, Italian, and I'm obviously Korean, Japanese. So going to that dinner was very nerve-wracking for us. But as soon as we walked in, my mom leaps up, gives Morelli a huge hug. Everyone's like, yay, clapping, this, and that. And we're like, phew, that was amazing. Like, we thought it would be nervous. And then my mom leans over to Morelli and she goes, no, we're just happy you're a girl. And I'm like, Mom.
I love that.
What? Mom. And then I was trying to like beef up and get all machismo, and I played sports, all this other stuff. I work out. But yeah, that was such a, I guess, eye-opening situation, because if you really think about my life, in an entire decade, I never brought anybody home. I'm an actor. I went to school in San Francisco.
You're pretty.
I'm pretty.
You work out.
I work out a lot. I watch my diet.
Yeah.
All this other stuff that just kind of stack up, not to generalize anything, but to give an idea to my family that
he's gay.
I might be gay.
It's
I gotta
okay.
be gay.
Just don't.
And it's okay.
Don't tell.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All this other stuff. So yeah, that was a very, very funny moment. Very, very funny moment.
So forget about she's Hispanic, she's not Korean. Just as long as she's a girl, we're happy.
Right, totally. Which inevitably was funny enough, because talking to them after, they were ready. And they were completely okay with it if it was going to be another male. And
that's nice.
And they were ready for it, and they would have loved me and accepted me any other way. But it was definitely very funny.
Yeah. So if someone's listening to this and they want to know they're a minority in one way or another, or they don't feel necessarily accepted in this community, and it's very hard. It's like the doors are really closed until you get in, and then there's another block and another, and you have to keep jumping over these obstacles. So what would you tell them? I've had several Asian friends. I actually wrote and directed a feature called Psycho Sushi that I shot in Tokyo, Nagoya, and LA. And I got one actor from Japan and 2 Asian actors here. And I thought all of them were great. Maybe you know one of them, Getty Watanabe.
Oh, right. Yes.
This was like 10 years ago, 12
Right.
years ago. He's
Absolutely.
fantastic, right?
Yes.
And another one, and the other one was just as good. And he said he had to go to Singapore.
Okay.
And he became a big star in Singapore because I
Okay.
went there visiting. He's like, call me, I'm in Singapore. What are you doing in Singapore? He's like, I want to be an actor. There's no roles for me in LA. And he
Right.
said, now I'm a huge star. I'm doing movie after movie after movie.
Right.
He's not making the money, the millions here that you would make here, but he said, I'm so happy.
Right.
I'm living my bliss every day. So
Yeah.
I said, but what was that decision? And he said, just one day I decided I'm not going to let Hollywood say I can't do what I want to do because of lack of roles. I'm going
Right.
to go to where there are roles because I know
Completely.
I'm good, and I know if I don't act every day or be in the conversation of acting, I won't be happy.
Right.
So he chose to move to a different country.
Yes.
He may come back one day, but he's happy. So what's your philosophy on that? If someone's saying, God, I'm just keep getting too many obstacles, maybe it's not right for me, but they feel in their soul it is. But they go, I have to eat, I'm not making money.
Completely. It's,
And they gave it the 5 years or whatever, the 7 years.
yeah. I feel like one thing has to hold true for any artist, actor, especially a minority that's going into the business, is you have to love it. If you don't love it, then you should do something else. You have to love it where it drives you. You have to love it more than anything you ever wanted to do. And I feel that love and passion will help you through all of the pitfalls, because there are a lot. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. The odds are definitely stacked against you. The roles, although expanding, are still very few and far between for minority actors.
Yeah, but what you just said was genius, because it's true. You have to love it more than anything else. It has to be the
Completely.
love of your life. And that means doing it for free, volunteering, being in theater. Even if you have to have that day job, then once you work those muscles, people are going to sense it, feel it, you're getting
Completely.
better, and it may transcend into a career.
That's the
But
thing.
most people say, I'm not going to do it without money. I need money, or
Right. Then
it's
you don't really love it.
Then do it as a hobby.
Yeah, then
And-
you don't really love it. You know, if you need other sources, like say income
Yes.
to exist because you want to buy that house or you want to buy that car
Yeah.
or you want to do all those other things, then you should go that path. But I feel like this path,
Or if you just want it for the fame or the fortune.
right, exactly. But as far as this path, if what drives you and what you're passionate about is truly the art of it, and that's what you love, then I feel like you should continue on. But if you don't, you should try to find the other passion somewhere else. And I feel that at its core is the truth. And I've even had a lot of friends go out to other countries and do very successful and well, and they're completely happy and found their bliss. And I think that's fantastic, you know, because they truly love it.
And I love that they took a chance to even try,
Completely.
because they could have always come back if it didn't work, but they said, I'm going to try something.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean it has to be right here in the way we see. It has to be in
Yes.
LA in the traditional way. There's so many different avenues. If you talk
Completely.
to actors or any career, everyone made it in a different way.
Yeah.
So
There's no path. This
the
career
path is your soul and
The-
your passion.
Right. As far as an actor is concerned, to get to wherever you want to be or wherever your goals are, there really isn't a path. The path is through your soul. The path is through your heart. The path is through the love for the art of it. And through that path will guide you. That will be the driving force, no matter which direction that it goes. Because I promise you, it's not going to go in the direction that's in your head. But as long as you have that heart, that passion, that love, that will drive you into the direction that you need to be as far as pursuing the acting and pursuing the craft. And it's that simple.
So how would you describe yourself in one word?
Wow.
One word.
One
You're somebody
word.
that is so simple, very complex in your simplicity, which
Right.
is what's
Very
beautiful.
complex in my
But
simplicity.
what is one word that?
One word. I was going to say simple, but now that we've talked about it, I mean, I think simply. But I've lived a complex
Yeah, you're not
simplicity.
simple, because I look at you and I could see you playing a mass murderer or in a Japanese concentration camp going, "Hiya!" I'm beating up somebody. And yet I see this purity as being the doting dad, like all at once. You're both.
Yeah, I think individually, I think we're all complex. I think certain philosophies are very much geared towards simplicity, whereas I can, take the right path. Gosh, if there was a word. I feel like, and it feels very cliche to say, but happy. If there's one word that I'd like to be, or I feel like I try to exist, is happy. And I don't know if happiness defines who I am, but I feel like happiness is what I want my life to be. No matter where I am in my career, no matter whatever relationships come by, no matter how much money I make or how much money I lose. All of that is relative, but at its core, it's happiness. So that's what I want that one word to be. That's what I want my legacy, in a sense, to be for myself.
That's the next question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Is happy. And if I can make others or influence others to find their happiness, then I know I've successfully created whatever my legacy will become or is, or the trajectory of that. I feel like life brings you so many things, some good, some bad. But I feel like if you can stay the course and in every moment feel that happiness, I think that's what life is. I don't think we're born here or put here to not be happy.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. Thank
Wonderful.
you. Thank
Lots
you.
of wisdom.
No, it's simple wisdom. It's happiness.
It's happiness.
It's happiness.